hello to my beautiful community. This is Kelsey L. Super happy to have all of you here. And I have a very special guest that I'm going to be sharing with you ladies today. Cecilia Ruiz, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So good to have you here. So ladies, the reason I brought Cecilia on is, gosh, I talk to so many of you all day, every day. A lot of you are getting back into the dating game and you're realizing something feels really off. And a lot of times it's hormones, it's feelings of depression or anxiety. There's so much that occurs, during some of these midlife years that if we don't address them now, we won't be at our optimal state when we're getting back into the dating game. So Cecilia is the owner, founder of Instituto Om. Cecilia, I would love for you to tell the ladies a little bit about what you do.
Well, thank you for having me. And hi, my name is Cecilia, and I've been in the medical field for more than 15 years, and I am a holistic health coach, and I focus more on women in their midlife. And when it comes to that metabolism slowing down and those hormones are declining. And so I try to help women to optimize their state of health through natural therapies. So I take a hand of nutrition and supplements and oils, and if needed, bioidentical hormones. But more than anything, my mission is to make women aware that these little things that are going on, this little mood, irritability, fatigue, insomnia, you have to take care of it. I mean, you really have to be on it because nothing shows up immediately. And so I have all these women, when they hit menopause, they tell me, it started like 5 years ago, or I started not having the ability to be able to have sex or have an orgasm, or my joints started to hurt, or I started with little migraines, or just I couldn't focus or perform the same. And so they let it go. By the time they hit the menopause, which is no hormones or lack of almost all ovarian function, then you have double the increased risk of high blood pressure. Now you really have depression. Now you really probably have divorce because you haven't been able to have sex for years, or even want to have sex for years. And so we have educated women that it's normal to feel like that because you're going through the change, but it's not. I mean, there are things you could do. And I know there has been a lot of talk about hormones and being bad, but there's other options. I mean, and now we have good options. And now we know that there's natural herbs, adaptogens that can help you get to that level. And so I'm in love with all the hormones and everything, and also the stress involved in being in your midlife. You're top of your professional life, probably you're changing, just like you said, you probably went through a life situation, I mean, that changed everything. Kids are leaving, and now it's like my turn. My turn. And one thing is that even 50 years ago, we were only lasting up to 50. So 40 was like, oh, okay, you're getting there. Now we're going all the way to 80. So this is our midlife. 40s is our midlife. Early 50s, you still have another 40. So if you feel like you're exhausted already, you're only halfway. So this is when you have to get tougher, when you have to avoid dementia, when you have to avoid cardiac problems. And we underestimate, but we are still dying of heart problems more than anything else. And when we talk about heart, we don't realize, but the thyroid is so important. And the production of testosterone in women is so important when we're talking about muscles and flexibility. The heart is a muscle. The arteries are a muscle. So we don't realize, but we need to make sure we're optimizing our hormones and our antioxidants and all the things that help us not to, go down the hill as fast. And the majority can be prevented. That's the other thing. All chronic diseases, we now know, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, depression can be prevented, and they take 5 to 7 years to develop. So if you're starting with symptoms now, it's very important to say, hey, I'm starting to feel this. I'm starting, and not wait until we don't have another option but to give you like 10 medications or having to have surgery or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing is, so many people do wait until it's a bigger problem than it had to be. So it's so fascinating. I love talking to you because every time I do, it's like I always learn something new. You're so passionate about what you do and how you help women. And I've watched you over even the course of this last year, expand, because you've always been in practice working with your patients,
One-on-one.
one in person. So I remember, when you first came to me and you wanted to get your virtual program online. And
well, when COVID hits, I'm like, okay, so I would teach in person a group. I would teach every month a group of around 20 women, and I would take them through this hormone health program. And so then COVID hit, and you're like, you have to stop meeting in groups and everything. So it's like, how do I do a Facebook group? How do I get my things? And I found you, and it's like, oh, and you're like, it's giving me all the formulas and going through the course. And I mean, and then all the mindsets and everything about now it's marketing myself. And that threw me off because I'm used to patients, arriving to the clinic. And so just figuring out how to do online things, everything online is a whole new world. But I'm so grateful that I found you because it wouldn't have happened.
Oh, well, I still remember when you called me, you're like, I just held, a group Zoom, and I can't believe I did this. I figured Zoom out. It's like you can literally go from not wanting or knowing, how to kind of operate all of these tech pieces and making it, it's like sometimes bigger than it really is. And then once you started to dive in, you're like, I can do this. And then all of your women started flocking to you, which was really amazing.
Yes, and I still meet with them at least once a week and talk to them about a topic and in a private Facebook group. And now I'm doing everything through like Zoom, and I'm trying to get a platform running. But I'm just like, if I look back, I started with you. It was April of last year.
Yeah, so just about a year ago.
Just about a year. So wow, I'm like, I learned all this. I even learned how to use Canva and all the little details and how to do ads in Facebook, and which I didn't even know it even existed,
Right. Yeah. And you were so willing to kind of accept everything I told you, step by step. I think at first you were a little overwhelmed, and then it started to flow. And I think once we got that ad running and you started really seeing, wow, there are so many women who are listening to what I have to say, and they want to hear my message because they have, this big problem. And then, your Facebook lives that you started to do started attracting so much attention. Wow. I mean, I still remember like all the comments, and everyone's just going crazy over what you have to say. And ladies, for any of you who are watching this, join Cecilia's page or business group. I'll put it below, but her live videos that she offers, I mean, you give so much amazing insight. I'm always really sucked into them every time they pop up on my feed because wow, it's things that I didn't even know that I could prevent. Being at this point in my life where, I think, oh, I'm feeling good, everything's great, but there are a lot of things that I could start focusing on now that I can, prevent a lot in the future.
And you know what? One of the main things I notice is that we're not aware of how the body functions. Like we don't really realize how digestion has to do with our thyroid, and how the thyroid helps with your ovaries, or your bones. And so once they go through the educational part, then it's easier for you to adjust lifestyle changes for that, because the body is amazing. It has the capability of resetting itself, detoxification, I mean, restoration, all those things, even rejuvenate. I mean, the body can rejuvenate. You can actually go back a little bit if you already have a diagnosis of like high sugar or anything. You can restore your body back. And so it's not like I'm taking this and now I'm done. No, if you put your body back into an environment that nurtures your body, your mind, and also that spiritual connection you have, which is, for me, medicine and spirit kind of go, but I always tell my women, well, it's the connection you have with yourself. I mean, the relationship you have with yourself is so important, so that you understand, and the best guidance is your intuition. And the only way for you to connect with that is to really have that moment to yourself and have that growth. And then your attitude starts to change, and then your mindset starts to shift. Every single thought you have is going to generate a chemical reaction in your body. So if I want your hormones to work well, I need to work at those other levels also. And that's, I think, in traditional medicine, something that we had separated. We separate the body, we separate the mind, goes to psychologists, and then spirit, nobody talks about it. But when we're talking about health, we need to see the human being as those three parts, and we have to nurture all three of them. And that's how the body goes back to balance, because at the end, the body is a reflection of all your thoughts, your habits, and that connection you have with yourself. So we don't decide to have a habit because of a physical reaction. It's a mental reaction that is like rooted in how you're feeling and how you wake up and what is your motivation every day. And so we kind of separated everything, and that's why I think we have so much chronic diseases, and the quality of life is not what we want. But once we connect those things again, I see really good results.
So when you're working with your patients now, or coaching clients in a group format, do you find it any more challenging or any different than with someone face to face, or have you really been enjoying it?
It's 100% better, because there's always somebody who has something, and then you start to see sometimes it's easier to see, oh, she's doing like that, or and then they start to nurture. And then what I found, especially with the social distancing, is you have a group and you have somebody to talk to, and they're all going through the same. And so I was scared in the beginning to do this groups things, but to be honest, I think it's a lot better. I do offer the one-on-one still, but a lot of the information and a lot of the courses, they feed on each other, and they ask the questions, and so it's really, really, I think it's much better.
Yeah, well, and once you got online, you became so popular so quickly that it almost wouldn't be possible to do that many, just one-on-ones. And the group format is so amazing, particularly right now when women and everyone needs community so much, and just feeling like we're lifted and supported, and we have that container where we're motivated, and with like-minded women who are also on a mission to be their very best. So it's so inspiring.
Yeah, empowering women, I mean, through them understanding what health truly is. Then you're like, okay, I don't have to depend on a doctor to tell me, or I don't have to depend on a medication. I have all this body and mind and that's helping me because the body always wants to go to balance. That's the body's always trying to figure out how to heal, how to restore, how to be better. But we have to kind of know what's going on and how to help the body to do that, and it'll do it.
It just naturally will respond. And this is so much too of what I teach my ladies who are looking for love. We have to be in the right frame of mind. We have to be so committed to following a certain plan, and then suddenly something takes over. It's like magic, and it starts to really work. And so, a lot of the ladies that I work with, they have a lot of struggles just with their hormones, not feeling energetic to even date, some libido issues.
Yes.
There's a lot going on. It's really important to look at it right now because it doesn't just affect one part of your life. It affects every part of your life, from love to finances to, of course, health and spirituality and longevity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you could be good at your job, but then your body's helping you, you're better. If you can have good sex, well, you could probably have better. I mean, and that really gives you confidence and that empowerment that you're on that go.
Yeah. So it is. It's so empowering to know that we have a choice. We have choices every day that we get to make that will allow us to have a better tomorrow, a better future. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us. If any of you ladies want to contact Cecilia, I will put her information. You offer free breakthrough calls.
Yes, I do. I always do, because then I can, more than anything, I want to know if I can help you, because sometimes it's something more, and I really am very careful at analyzing your state of health right now, and if you need something more, then to kind of guide you where to go. So for me, it's very important, that initial call, just to see if yes, okay, we can do this through my program, or you know what, no, I think you really need. And the other thing is, I always work with the primary care hand in hand. So it's something I emphasize, that I'm not your primary care. I'm helping you with all the other aspects of your support in your health, but I work hand in hand with your primary care.
I know you had a group program that you launched months ago that filled up really quickly. Are you launching another one soon?
So I'm launching now in English. So I've always done everything in Spanish, but this is my first group that I'm going to have in English. So I'm trying to get all my things translated. So hopefully, I want to launch this by May. And so right now I'm going through all the marketing things. So I'm translating everything.
Exciting. It's so exciting. I've always said I would trust you with any one of my very best friends. You're
thank you.
Full of knowledge and so full of passion for what you do, which is so incredibly important. So it's such a pleasure to get to talk to you, Cecilia, and thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you, Kelsey.